The last thing you want to hear when you need your auto insurance most is a robot with countless irrelevant menu options. Which is why with USAA Auto Insurance, you'll get great service that is easy and reliable, all at the touch of a button. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
Whatever the occasion, effortless elegance is right this way. Because Hilton brings you new ways to stay courtesy of the Nomad London. And it doesn't stop at award-winning dining in a space draped in velvet and illuminated by vintage chandeliers. No, this day goes beyond with unparalleled personalized service and attentive hospitality. Oh, and did we mention the Nomad London can be booked using your Hilton Honors points at Hilton.com? Hilton, for the stay.
So, you just started using LinkedIn Premium. Now what? Well, on your premium company page, you noticed around 7.5 times more page engagement and 5 times more page views. Well done. And now, new clients are messaging you. All because you're using LinkedIn Premium, which helps you get the business growth you want. Think big, small business. Think big. Start your free trial at linkedin.com/premium small business. That's linkedin.com/premium small business.
Welcome to another Find the Edge production for the Premier League Cricket Club. Connecting players and coaches, clubs and leagues, volunteers and supporters alike, you're in the right place for the best of the 33 ECB Premier Leagues and the 20 NCCA counties, bringing you the stories, the stats and the standout performances that make this game great. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to both our Premier League and NCCA shows so you don't miss any episodes. Now, shall we get stuck in? So welcome everybody to National Counties Cricket Show, and joining us once again is another skipper of another county. Now we had Sam Perry a couple of weeks ago and we've gone just a little bit away from Cheshire. We've gone over the border. We're in Staffordshire. How are we doing, Mr. Kettleborough?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Yeah, all good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, pleasure, mate. And it's a busy time, to say the least, as we were saying off air. It just seems to keep coming and coming and coming for you right now.
Yeah, it does. The 50 over stuff came thick and fast. We had a bye the first week, so then we were straight into it with a double header on a bank holiday. So yeah, within the space of 48 hours, you're already halfway through your group stage games, and yeah, it's felt pretty relentless since, to be honest. But that's just part of the schedule. It
is, and I looked at the calendar a couple of days ago when I saw that we're halfway through June almost, and you're thinking, where has that come from? Yeah, and we're actually saying the weather's nice today as we record this, because we've had a week of dodgy weather, but you've got a lot of cricket in so far with good weather, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we've both our T20 days so far have been affected by rain, but not really had like games cancelled, or certainly the 50 over stuff was not touched by the rain for us. So touch wood, it's not been the worst summer just yet, and like I say, still plenty to come in sort of the back end of the season. Yeah,
absolutely. Got to turn to what's happened so far with Staffordshire this season. You got off to a flyer with your game against Herefordshire in the trophy. You did rather nicely in that yourself. But would it be fair to say that since then you've been a bit sort of in and out when it came to the trophy?
I think you're probably doing us a favour by saying we were in and out. We were brilliant on that first day, and we were very poor for the next 3. Yeah, we've done that now back-to-back seasons where we start really strong and feel really confident and optimistic about the format, and yeah, we've just then struggled to sort of replicate that, which is immensely frustrating. So I suppose it's saying that it's the hope that kills you. We're showing that we're capable of doing really well in that competition, that format, but just not being able to do it on a regular basis. That's really frustrating, and something that we will no doubt reflect on again at the end of the season, and want to put right. Currently, still reflecting and scratching our heads a little bit, but yeah, it was a difficult competition to sort of digest, and yeah, quite a tricky one to accept given the talent and the skill we've got within our squad.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. I mean, there's no doubt you've got a talented squad from 1 to 11 all the way through, and you and Mr. Carr must have sat down and scratched your head a hell of a lot since and gone, how could it go so right in one game at the beginning and walk away with tick VG all the way along, and then it just didn't click, did it?
No, exactly that. Yeah, it's been it's quite funny how mirrored the last 2 seasons have been in that competition. We start really well, we bat first, we get a 280 score. I've been fortunate to get a couple of scores, we win comfortably, and you're like, brilliant. Like, and then to be so disappointing in the next three, yeah, you do leave yourself sort of, you're scratching your head a little bit and ask yourself a lot of questions, really, a lot of self-reflection. And yeah, obviously at the minute we don't have the answers, but it's sometimes I even go back to, well, if we've won those two games where I've got runs, I need to reflect on the fact that that's the responsibilities on me, then take a bit of ownership and appreciate that I need to sort of be the one to stick my hand up, and I've not been able to do that on over the 2 years. 6 out of 8 occasions I've not been able to do that, and that's not good enough. So yeah, me and Kari have had a lot of conversations, and I think as captain and coach in our roles, we're always I wouldn't say happy, but always open to sort of taking on the responsibility and looking at ourselves before pointing the fingers. But yeah, it will be something we reflect on quite a lot that come the end of the season.
Yeah, and I think what I found fascinating with the Staffordshire campaign so far, you won the game against Herefordshire, you lost the game against Suffolk, who were immensely strong that side, and then whether it was for the good or the bad or the ugly, you threw yourselves into two T20s against first class Leicestershire, who are absolutely flying in everything they play at the moment. And you had a very, very, very young and slightly inexperienced team to a certain extent then, but you still got something out of that though, didn't you?
It was a learning experience, yeah, that's for sure. It was one of the tougher showcase days we've probably had. There's some logistical things we can reflect on and learn from. Playing midweek, playing in the shorter format, it probably put us on the back foot considerably with our availability, and probably the gulf of first class cricket or professional cricket to NCCA level probably highlighted more in the Blast than it has done previously when we played them in 50 over stuff during the 100. Those things were probably highlighted quite a lot, but like you say, yeah, we learned a lot from it. It was one that we tried not to take too heavily. When you get beat up like that, you just kind of have to dust yourself down and take it on the chin. And now we're able to look back on that already and sort of have a laugh about it. But I think if you read too much into that, it could probably be more detrimental. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's a learning experience. You're playing against professionals. You just get to see how good these guys are.
Yeah.
And we've got young guys in the squad who have really high aspirations within the game, and hopefully I wouldn't want to say it was a reality check, but it just gives them an awareness of actually how good these guys are, and maybe that's the standard they want to be striving for. So yeah, a difficult day, but like I say, one hopefully there's a few learnings from.
Yeah, most definitely. And I was there for the first game, and I must admit that the first game, it was quite a pleasure to watch you guys bat to start with. Isaac Mohammed and Ethan Berlusconi on debut. They got going, and to be fair, there were one or two Leicester players looking at each other going, hang on a minute, what we got up against here? And that must be reassuring to see those youngsters come through that for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, dated way back to when I used to play county cricket, and you'd play in like tourist games against international sides or these showcase games. That usually, if you look at majority of them, there's always sort of someone who has a day out, or someone sort of goes away from the day thinking, yeah, I've stood up tall there and I've had a really good day against a side that's a really decent side. And at one point, yeah, the way we started, see the talent of Isaac Mohammed up top in those first sort of 3 or 4 overs at his age, it was really exciting to see. Shame it was as short-lived as it was. I don't know what he finished 30 something off. Not many, 10 or 15 balls, but the shots he played as well, the manner in which he scored the runs was really exciting. And like you say, there was just a few people, certainly in their dugout, just sort of asking a couple of questions, which was really exciting and came as no surprise when then obviously Worcestershire have snapped him up.
Absolutely. And you talk about people having a day out. You were unlucky in the second game in particular to see Rishi Patel have a day out. 96 off 40 balls. He's not going to do that week in, week out. And that's what you can say to your youngsters in particular, isn't it? You're going to come up against them in any form of cricket, and it's just how you deal with it.
Absolutely. I mean, he was out second ball for 6 in the first game, and then, like I say, 90 off 40 ball. That's just the nature of T20 cricket, and it's probably a reflection of these guys who get to train every day, probably multiple times a day, that they've got the ability just to almost try and hit every ball for 4 or 6. That's how good they are. It's what they're trained to do. It's what they're paid to do, and they're very, very good at it. Like you say, they won't always come off, and certainly at our level at NCCA cricket, you won't play against too many people who quite have that quality and that consistency of that quality as well. I'm obviously a lot older and more mature than some of the lads in the squad, and I'm able to sort of sit back and just reflect on how good that was and sort of appreciate it a bit more. Whereas certainly a younger version of myself or some of the younger lads in the group, maybe it's not as easy to do that. You get caught up in the emotion of it. It is difficult to be on the receiving end of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, any sort of conversation at the end of the day, well, look, let's not, be too hard on ourselves and try and reflect on it a little bit and see how good these guys actually are. And it was a Friday, so we sort of said, you know what, go back to your clubs the next day, have a bit of fun, enjoy your cricket again, and try and move on as best you can.
Exactly, and it's I'm always the first to say that this is cricket, and every single week with the Premier Leagues across the country, there's always one game or two games where me and Hugh will look at it and go, "Bloody hell!" Bowled out for 40, bowled out. Last week there was a game that finished in 28 overs between two innings. It's going to happen,
Yeah.
and it's going to happen. What you do with it next week, it all accounts, isn't it? I think the nice thing for you guys is you've moved on into the T20 competition, and you've got off to a reasonable start. You got beat by 1 run in the first game against Shropshire, wasn't it? But which was a bit of a tough one to take. But then the second game was the rain affected one.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we've got reduced to 5 overs. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think to be fair, I looked at that day there for you guys. It was more important for Shropshire to get a win out of it because they'd lost the first two when you had the bye week. So it was important for them to get that win. But you must have come out of that day with 1 win, 1 loss, but lots of confidence out of it.
Yeah, I'd say both our days so far. First one up at Northumberland, and then this one at home to Shropshire. Very similar. 1 win, 1 loss. Getting the win in the second game. So it's quite nice to sort of leave the day on a positive note. Reflect. It's easier to then reflect on the positives and everything we're doing really well. Like you said, that first game against Shropshire. Look, chasing 180 is never an easy run chase, but it certainly helps when you've got Niels Priestley and Liam Banks at the top of your order. And then when they play how they do, to be in the position we were in, yeah, it was disappointing not to get over the line. And it's always disappointing when you lose by 1 run because you can then look at so many little margins, little mistakes here and there. And, and I know a lot of lads probably took on a bit of responsibility thinking, oh, that was my fault, I did this or that. But
Yeah.
it's always difficult. It's just a shame, like I say, we weren't able to sort of take home the chocolates in the first game. But again, similar to Northumberland, to bounce back in the second game, I always fancy our chances in a reduced overs game. I don't particularly have any rationale for it other than the history we've got. Whenever we've had shortened games before a ball's been bowled, we've generally come out pretty well. And yeah, I sort of felt confident going into that 5 over game. And then once the bowlers executed their skills like they did to restrict them to 37, it was just a case of taking a bit of responsibility with the bat. And again, when you've got the top order that we do, it always helps. And yes, we're like you said, we're doing okay. We're doing reasonably okay in the T20 stuff. I'm really pleased that we're in the mix. We're currently in qualification zone.
Yeah.
And we're yet to sort of put together a perfect day, which is quite threatening, hopefully, to opposition, and is quite exciting for us. Because I know that when we do click, we'll be hopefully pretty dangerous side like we've shown in the past. So still the best to come for us, and we're hoping we can do that with a couple of days left in the group stage.
Yeah, and you're right when you say that reduced game at Northumberland down to 16 overs. And the biggest threat in the entire team is out first ball. When Niels goes, you automatically thinking, "Hang on a minute, we've got a battle on straight away here." But you between Callum, Matt Morris, yourself, you got the runs, got up to get to, and bear in mind Northumberland at that stage, they were flying in the trophy and hitting runs left, right, and centre, weren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. They're a good white ball side. They've got a pretty clear blueprint on how they play their cricket. We're pretty aware of that. It doesn't necessarily mean we can then counter it or deal with it all the time. But yeah, they're in a pretty good spot with their white ball stuff. And like you said there, like you summarised pretty well actually. For us to chase, to put together a good run chase on the back of Niels being out first ball, whilst I'd love for him to score runs every week, for us to still be able to deliver a good run chase, a successful one, on the back of him not contributing, actually that's really reassuring. And again, quite exciting that we've got as many options as we have with the bat. We're not just sort of a one-trick pony. I know sides that come up against us, they'll have a spring in their step when they get Niels early. Of course they will. But actually knowing that we've then got other ways of winning games of cricket, that's really exciting for us.
Yeah, definitely. And I think one of the things I quite found quite fascinating with the campaign so far as well is the return of somebody into the T20 fold. So you lost Rory from he played against the Northumberland game, but then you lost him for the Shropshire ones. But you brought Tom Brett back in. So, you couldn't get more extreme than Rory Hayden going off and Bretty coming back in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Rory's in a really good place this year at the minute. He's doing really well with Derbyshire, and unfortunately, as a result of that, we've been a little bit limited on how much we've seen him. But no, we obviously want him to do really well, and we always wish him the best, and we accept our role in his journey. But yeah, to lose out on Rory, but then actually we're able to bring in Bretty and Liam Banks. You think, well, they're not two of the worst names to come in.
Mhm.
Stick Reeve Everts alongside that as well. We had three guys coming in who are only going to strengthen our side. So yeah, always like bittersweet to lose Rory, but to have those three coming in, almost it's a different looking side, but it's certainly as captains feel just as confident with those guys coming in.
Yeah, most definitely. And you've got the big one coming up this weekend. I describe it as the big one. You've got the local derby, haven't you? You've got Cheshire at what I describe as possibly one of their favourite grounds at Nantwich. They do like playing there, to say the least. You both go in there in sort of reasonable mixed levels of form, but they're a strong side, aren't they?
Absolutely, they are, and their success they've had in white ball cricket in recent years speaks for itself. There's a reason why they reach the stages that they do because they're a strong side, and we didn't play them last year, but we did the year before, and we again one game was rained off, and the other one was a really closely fought game at Nantwich as well. So we've got history of playing there, but. Yeah, they're a really strong side, and that they will be a challenge. But I'm sure they're having the same conversations as well, and absolutely, we still back ourselves if we play anywhere near our best cricket. Will be a really challenge for them as well. Really big challenge for them as well. So it is a big day. And I think when you start to reach the second half of the group stages, they're all pretty big days. When our group is as close as it is, yeah, you can't afford to sort of take your foot off the pedal. So no, looking forward to the challenge and looking forward to see how we respond in it as well.
And it's nice now to know that having had that, I described it to Logs as a blip where you had that 1 week of T20, then it was back to the trophy. Now you've got a rolling T20 until effectively you go to the 3-day games, don't you?
Yeah, yeah. We obviously, we go back to back this week. We then have our week off. I think I can't remember which way around it is. You got the trophy semi-finals and then it's our week off. And then we have our last game down at Wolverhampton on the 6th of July. So yeah, so kind of all our focus is on that at the moment. And then our first 3-day game is the 27th of July. We're at home to Lincolnshire. So a couple of weeks off, but yeah, thick and fast still. And yeah, I always feel like the 3-day stuff is the back end of the season. So to even be talking about that already feels a bit strange.
It's come around quickly already, hasn't it, to say the least? But
Yeah, absolutely it has. But again, I always look forward to the 3-day stuff. It's a completely different challenge, but one I really, really enjoy. And the fact that that's just around the corner is really exciting.
and after last season, you must feel as though there's a little bit of unfinished business in the 3-day as well.
Yeah, I suppose there is that aspect to it, but I suppose what's been highlighted to me season already is actually just how different sides are from one season to the next.
Yeah.
You can have a really set team one year, and but actually there's form, there's injuries, availability, whatever it might be. Things can change really quickly. So yeah, we've got loads of confidence. Yes, we want to be in the mix for that trophy again, and there's no reason why we can't be. Things might look a little bit different for us, but there's, like I said, that's not necessarily always a bad thing. Just because things are different doesn't mean they're worse or better. It's just it's a challenge I'm really looking forward to and getting stuck into.
Yeah, and around the counties itself, so obviously you played quite a few counties now in the first 6-8 weeks of the season. Is there anyone who stood out for you that you thought, well, not seen that one before? That's a player I need to keep an eye on.
In terms of players or teams?
Yeah, players and well, both.
I mean, Shropshire aside, who always I look at them on paper and I think
Strong.
they're really strong. And it's no surprise to see them do really well in the 50 over competition this year. In terms of players, I mean, you look around the scores. Generally, it's the guys who you'd expect who generally put in good performances. Yeah, there's none who I've thought. I suppose I look around and I'm a bit of a badger, so I know a lot of the names on the circuit. And when I see people do well, I'm not necessarily taken back or surprised. There's your obvious names, aren't there? Johnny Connell, Reese Lewis. They always score runs. They're good players. Down at Cams, you see Wayne White doing really well. John Oswald's got a couple of hundreds for Northumberland. These aren't surprises. They're good players, especially white ball players. So they're names that I've sort of noticed and seen. But I wouldn't necessarily say there's been too many surprises. I don't think, or certainly that I've noticed. I suppose from a personal point of view, I'd just like to see some more big scores against the names of some Staffordshire batters, I guess. But I think that will come.
Yeah.
I think we're doing some really good things, and I think once the 3-day stuff comes, I'm hoping that is the case.
Yeah, and talking of Staffordshire batters, I can't speak with you without talking about Zen Malik and the success he's had. I had the absolute utmost pleasure to be on analyst duty on the day he got his first class 100.
Brilliant.
Yeah, how pleased are you to see Zen to go on to where he's gone to, because he's part of the pathway at the end of the day, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and he's had a really interesting cricket journey, and that probably adds to the satisfaction that people have in his success. He's been on the NCCA circuit for a while, done really well, scored loads of runs. His talent, no one's doubted his talent, and fair play to him. He's persevered with trialling in second team cricket, and again, people have always noticed the runs he's scored and the success he's had, and he's just kept knocking that door down. And for him to have that sort of resilience and that persistence again to just keep going until his opportunity came up, and then to take that. Yes, it was great to see him get a contract at Warwickshire, but then it was a case of, well, you've worked so hard to get here. It'd be great to see you kick on. And then you look at their squad and their 11 they had at the start of the year. You think, Christ, he'd do well to get an opportunity, but it came along and he's grabbed it with both hands. And knowing how hard he's worked, the journey he's gone on, and also what just a nice lad he is. Like you say, it's really satisfying and really pleasing. I'm fairly good friends with his dad as well. I know there's a lot of pride there, and just generally really pleased for Zen and his family, and knowing the journey he's gone on, and for him to reap the rewards now is great. Yeah,
definitely. And you could see he didn't stand out, and that's the nicest possible way I can put it. He just looked part of the entire organisation. He fitted in like a glove. He batted like a dream. Obviously, the pitch was a bloody good one, but that doesn't really matter because he's still got to get the runs, hasn't he? And to me, the fact that he doesn't stand out is what we've been saying week in, week out, year in, year out. As you know, that around the NCCA, there's a lot of these top players who actually they could fit into these counties, aren't there?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like I say, he wouldn't stand out at that level because he's good enough to blend in. Whereas, like I say, at NCCA cricket, he did stand out. His ability with the bat, bowling wrist spin, a bit of mystery about his spin, and actually the quality in the field as well. You could just see just on a different level to the rest of us. And that's credit to his talent and skill level. And like I said, that was never in doubt. It was just a case of someone giving him that opportunity, and it's great to see him taking that opportunity now.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just me, and you describe yourself as a bit of a badger. You'll probably notice this as well. I don't know if it's just me, and me and you have been talking about this over the last few weeks, but I think there's more and more NCCA players doing that second team cricket, trialing at the moment. Every week we'll flick through all the games and go, oh, look who's playing it. Look, there does seems to be more and more of sort of momentum that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's great to see these guys getting opportunities, and no doubt there'll be more people like Zen who A, are given those opportunities, and B, good enough to take them. I think the profile of NCCA cricket is only increasing, and hopefully it continues on that path, and in time that will hopefully create more opportunities and get people in the shop window for second team cricket. So it's always a positive thing. We talk about mainly in the T20 comp, getting some pros into our game, and hopefully that sort of pathway is a two-way path, and it gets NCCA players into second team cricket as well.
Yeah, most definitely. I was talking to Jake Lintott last Friday at Warwickshire, who again has played Premier League and NCCA and T20, and that it just shows that they can move between quite easily and quite comfortably if the schedule allows. Who have you seen around the Challengers group, for example, who you think they're the next one on potentially on that sort of elevator to go do the trial and go forward?
Yeah, probably a couple of standouts. Certainly, I mean, probably quite well known or a high profile one is Johnny Connell. The ability he's got with the bat, the consistency, and a way that he can adapt from the different formats. He scores runs in all formats. I think he's got a pretty sound technique, pretty strong fundamentals that he's then able to expand upon, and that's working pretty well for him. Any cricket he plays in and format he plays in does really well. Sam Keeling-Wright's someone who's a pretty raw cricketer, but actually very exciting. He's got a lot of talent. He's got the ability to bowl fast, which is an attribute that's obviously very sought after, and he's got that. So as long as he can keep himself on the park, it'd be exciting to see where he can get to. And then someone who I've seen little bits of from playing against him and training, a guy called Andrew Neil at Hertfordshire. I think he's just a very good all-round cricketer, hits the ball cleanly, very clever and skillful bowler, good athlete as well, good in the field. He's someone who, I've seen bits of and been quite excited by, or if I've played against him, been quite worried by. They're probably three that spring to my mind. But that's just my personal view. That there's like you say, there's probably a long list of players who probably aren't the right to be in the mix with them as well. So it's an exciting time for NCCA cricket.
It is, and I think the changing rules that they've had over the last few years and making sure that the youngsters are coming through that way is just expanding that pool that you're looking at. And it's been nice to see the Staffordshire development team playing a lot more games as well, isn't it? But putting them out there with that Staffordshire badge on makes a big difference rather than just turning up for the Premier League games.
Absolutely, yeah. Our development team's really important, and as part of the coaching staff for the development team, I can't overstate the value that development side has. We sort of dice between calling it a development team and a second team. We really want to put pressure on our first team for competition of places. So it's really important that we try and deliver that message to the players involved in it. They're there as basically the second best 11 players in Staffordshire, and if they do well, there's every chance they will be rewarded with opportunities in the first team. It's also a balance of recognising how big Staffordshire is, and we're not able to see everyone play loads of cricket, but actually the development side is an opportunity to get guys in from the south, from the east, wherever it might be. You see these guys on scorecards putting in performances. Well, here's an opportunity in our development team in front of myself, in front of Kari, Chris Millwood, Pete Wilshaw, and it's an opportunity for them. It's also an opportunity for us to see eyes on them in a match scenario as opposed to just looking at scorecards and whatnot. So the development team is really important for us, and I think we've got 3 fixtures sort of back end of June, July time, where it's going to be crucial to get guys on the field that we want to look at. Certainly, especially ahead of the 3-day competition as well.
Yeah, when availability is key for that 3 days, isn't it, to make sure the players are out there. It'd be remiss of me not to mention Premier League cricket, obviously, while I'm on with you. You must be reasonably pleased with the start you made at Checkley this season.
Yeah, very pleased. We obviously had a really successful season last year, and we were in a really good place to win the T20, to reach the final of the Talbot Cup, be in the mix to win the league with to miss out with a couple of weeks to go, or the penultimate game I think it was. We were in a really good place. We didn't have a great winter in terms of player retention. That's unfortunately just the way it goes. With some things, you lose players. We can't necessarily always compete with other clubs from a finance point of view, so it was a challenge, and that no doubt made this season look a lot more difficult. But 7 games in, to be sitting, I think we're joint third at the moment. We're really pleased with the cricket we're playing. I think the games we've fallen short in, we've not been a million miles away, but actually we've fallen short against some really good sides. I think Leek, Port Hill, Moddershall are 3 sides I would deem to be the stronger sides in the league, and we're really pleased with where they're at. Now we're into the Red Bull stuff. Obviously, results can go. It's not just as black and white as win-lose, so it probably opens up the league a bit more. The league feels a lot more open this year with everyone beating everyone. It's also really interesting to see things like, obviously Audley had a difficult season last year, managed to stay up, and now they're flying at the top of the league, which it's probably just a reflection of how open this league can be. But all in all, like I say, we're really happy with where we're at, and excited to see where the next sort of block of fixtures, now we're in the Red Bull stuff, takes us.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of similarity in how Checkley have started as how Staffordshire have started in the T20s. You could just be a little bit more on the games that you've lost, and you'd be right at the top there, wouldn't you, straight away? And I think from your self perspective, it looks as though your own personal form's the same, that you're just almost ticking the box, but just not quite getting over the line.
Yeah, you're probably doing me a favour there. It doesn't feel quite as positive as how you've reflected there. It's nice to have got a couple of scores and they contribute to wins. But like you say, yeah, when we've fallen short, we've not been a million miles away. And yeah, as a senior player, senior batter in that group, I'm always going to take on responsibility. So to fall short is always frustrating. And like I said, couple of scores so far from 7 games probably hasn't been it's not what I would have wanted so far. But hopefully I can step up and put in some performances both for Checkley and Staffordshire.
Yeah.
And if I can do that and we get some positive results and wins, that's even more important to me. So
I know you're going to be tough on yourself though, Ket. You always are. But
yeah,
you've got the dual role. You have got the dual role of batter and captain at the end of the day, haven't you?
Yeah, I suppose I learned last year quite quickly that it's quite handy having that dual role because I didn't obviously contribute too much with the bat last year, but it was still nice to then be able to help influence the game with some captaincy, I guess. But yeah, no, really keen to always sort of at my age and with my experience, I'm always keen to take on some responsibility, and hopefully I can do that for both club and county.
I always look at the numbers as in a quite whole way and look at anyone who's scored 400 plus runs already this time of the season. Doesn't matter how many games you've played because you happen to be influenced the game in some shape or form. You're there. You're actually there. You're only a couple of big scores away from being in the top half, top third of all the batters there, aren't you?
Yeah, I suppose that's what I keep trying to reassure myself with a little bit. It is only 1 or 2 big scores away from being where I want to be, and that can change quickly. Cricket can change very quickly. So it's just taking care of the process, putting in the hard work, and hoping the rest can take care of itself.
Absolutely. And that starts again this weekend. We've got Premier League on the Saturday for you, but more importantly, the big double header over at Nantwich on Sunday. Unfortunately, I can't be there because it's ECB National Club Championship Day, which might have an effect on the teams a little bit, potentially, because Cheshire, will any of the lads be playing for Didsbury or will any of the Nantwich are playing that day? It's Didsbury versus Nantwich.
Oh, wow.
I'm talking aloud here because it could be quite interesting when we see the sides.
No, yeah, something I hadn't considered because I'm pretty sure all the Staffordshire clubs have played their part in the knockout already. So yeah, we haven't got that issue to worry about. But yeah, if they are missing 1 or 2, then that'd be great. But yeah, I've not seen their squad come out yet.
Yeah, I'll be keenly looking forward to seeing that come out, and I've got a good idea what your squad will be at Staffordshire because I think there's going to be quite a lot of continuation. I think it looks great at the moment. That T20 squad looks as though it's going to continue through the season, and hopefully that's going to carry you to the Super 12s, and then you never know, Wormsley for finals day this year.
Yeah, no, we've got a pretty strong core group of players. Probably a squad of sort of 14, 15 that we discuss most weeks. Yeah, I think that from conversations we've had, I don't think anything's been finalised yet, but there might be 1 or 2 changes this week. Just sort of adapting to what we know to expect from Nantwich, and yeah, trying to deal with that. But yeah, it might be 1 or 2 changes. But yeah, nothing too drastic, I don't think. But yeah, either way, whatever side we put out with it, will be one that's full of confidence and hopefully put in a good performance.
Absolutely. Great to catch up with you, Ket, and obviously look forward to seeing how the scores go around the country on Sunday while I'm at a National Champs game. Have a good one, mate.
Perfect. Cheers, Ian. Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining us at the Premier League Cricket Club. We'll be back soon with more from the world of Premier League and NCCA cricket. But in the meantime, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review and follow us wherever you get your socials. Or maybe check out our website, premierleaguecricket.co.uk to stay updated. Until next time, have a good one.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
When we started writing our thoughts down on paper, it opened up endless possibilities. Ideas could grow beyond the borders of the mind, and it changed the world. Somewhere along the way, we lost touch with paper, distracted by devices made for every purpose except for thinking and focus. On edge, waiting for the next notification. But what if new technology didn't pull us away from paper, but brought us closer to it? Listen. That's not paper. It's the sound of the new Remarkable Paper Pro, rewriting the future. A paper tablet with a true color ink display, gentle reading light, and unheard of tactility. With digital features for taking notes, thinking, and organizing, without any distractions. Paper is about to change the world again. Get your paper tablet at remarkable.com today.